Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing, or at least we're attempting to. I guess that counts, right? Today has been a day, let me tell you. So, today's been a little bit on the hard side, so I'm a little discombobulated, and some stuff I keep forgetting to do. So today I woke up and only to find that my the battery on his car was dead. And so I needed to help him jump his battery with my truck. And so we did that, and I had to move a whole bunch of stuff out of the carport because the jumper cables were too short and a bunch of other stuff. And so that was a pain in the butt. And let me see if I can't get this to do what I wanted to do. There we go. I want to pop out chat. Give me just 1 second, and I'll be there. So yeah, I ended up having to help my partner jump his car, and that was a whole big old thing. And because we were using my truck, he wanted me to drive around for a while. So I went and got breakfast, and I got some propane, and then I came home and I posted the VOD from Friday. And it was a little bit discombobulated because it's not normally the order that I do things in. So I was a little bit tired from moving anvils and all kinds of stuff from the carport anyway. And yeah, so I'm a little on the tired side, but we are here. We are working it, and we're going to have fun today. Welcome in, Sandwich. Good evening. So today we are going to continue working on our hammer. It is currently in the forge. I just wanted to get it in there so that we could heat it up faster and hopefully get on to the next project. There are a couple things that I haven't gotten around to doing because this weekend was kind of busy too. I have yet to make a spring fuller, so we might do that today. We might just stick with making the cross peen and working the hammer eye hole. So we'll kind of see what we get around to. So I have a few updates in the world of Ray's Smithy. My first update is to tell you that there is no update for the van. On Friday, my partner came home and told me that they have to have, like 100% have to have a bid from a dealership in order for us to purchase this van. And the dealership has stood up their appointment 3 times. So hopefully this week it can happen. I don't know if it's going to or not. So we'll see if that happens or if it doesn't. So it's kind of a nothing update, but I figured I'd keep you updated. My other update is a pretty good update. I'm pretty happy with it. Yesterday we ordered a new laptop for the stream. So we will no longer have issues with the laptop being slow and laggy and frame dropping. This one is a brand new one, runs Windows 11, and it's a Dell laptop. So hopefully that works beautifully for us. At the end of the stream, I will link the exact laptop. We ordered it from Amazon, and I will link you guys the Amazon link on the Discord so you guys can take a look at the specs on it. But keep in mind that I didn't pick it. My partner picked it. He's a lot better with computers and technology than me, and he knew our specs that we needed a little bit better than me, so I kind of helped a little bit by giving minimum specs for OBS, but he's the one that ultimately picked it out, and ultimately he has the purse strings of this operation. So I'll give you guys the link. You can kind of take a look at it and see what you guys think, but that's the one that we're getting. It will not be here until Wednesday. That is what the tracking says. So that means that we won't get to play with it on stream until Friday. So I will be streaming on the old laptop today and Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, I will be on my phone every so often, making sure that I get the laptop off the doorstep, even if it's during stream. If it is during stream, we can do like an unboxing or something, and we'll see what we can do with that. But even if it comes in the early morning, I just am not going to have a lot of time to set it up between receiving it and the stream starting. So I'm not planning on starting to use it until Friday. But I'm really excited. Breaking news, no news. Great, that is quick. Corwin, hi Ray, how are you? I'm pretty tired, but I'm doing good. Overall, I'm doing good. So yes, while I have no news on the van front, I do have lots of news on the laptop computer front. And so I'm really excited, and I can't wait to, put all of these technology woes behind me as best as possible. I did also get approved to stream in 2K. So once I get the laptop working, I will see about utilizing the 2K streaming, because that's going to increase the quality, and it's going to look really nice. I've got the cameras themselves are currently recording in 2K, but they can go up to 4K. So we shall see what I can make happen. What else is happening? The major thing, like I said, is the laptop. So, and I've already talked to you guys about that. What do we got here? The main thing we have to do is push that metal blob with the hammer. Then we can all be satisfied and go to sleep. Exactly. We want to make sure that we get the blank in the center of that hole. We want to make sure that pops out. And that way we can start working on the sides of the hammer and start making that cross peen. I'm really excited. Like I said, it has been a bucket list project for me to make a hammer, and I'm really excited that I get to play with it today and, this week. So my main concern is learning as much as I possibly can from this experience. Like I said, this is my first one, so it's probably going to be really ugly, and it might blow up in my face. Hopefully not literally, but you never know. I will be as safe as possible, though. So, yeah. Whew. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. It's like that just before you're going to sneeze. So, yeah. Looks like we've got some heat building up on the piece of steel, but it's still a little on the cold side, so we're gonna have to wait just a little bit longer. So if I can't, there is a. So my plan for today, like I said, is going to be getting the slug out of the hole, and then I'm probably going to work on the sides and the cross peen of the hammer. Tomorrow I am planning on making a spring fuller so that we can start working on the main face of the hammer. I'd like to put a fuller all the way around it to kind of separate the face of the hammer and the hole of the hammer. But I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. I have a couple other things that I need to do out here in the shop. A couple more shots I need for not this week's video, but next week's video. And then I will get to finish all of that and start posting things. I'm really excited about that too. The form seems to look a little bit darker, colder than the last time. I mean, it might be. Let me take a look at it. It's turning it off. We'll turn it up. Yeah, I just turned it on just before I started the stream. So it is a little bit on the cooler side. It's still heating up. So it should start heating up pretty soon, and we'll be able to get started, but it will take a few minutes, especially because the brick of steel is so big. It looks like, when I was turning this up, there's like a little bit of a liquid, like water around the regulator, so that just means there's a lot of pressure going through it. This is a brand new tank of propane. I just changed it before stream, so we shouldn't have to worry about it freezing up or anything. So that's a good thing. Although I do have a little bit of propane left in the bottle that we were using on Friday in case it does freeze up. So we should be good to go on that as well. The word I do not know, fuller. Google does not help much. I get more full. Yeah, okay, so fuller is a blacksmithing term. And it's basically like a rounded indentation that separates two pieces of metal, right? Or I guess two sections of a piece of metal. So this section right here on this this ball peen hammer, this has been fullered. So it's this like little curved section right here, and it separates the handle from the ball of the ball peen hammer. There's also a miniature fuller right here that separates the head of this hammer from the wood, or I guess the handle. And this is not, or it's not just a hammer term. This is just like a curved separation between two chunks of metal. That is what a fuller is. But the hammer makes a really decent example of that because it's just sitting there, Okay, thanks. How is it spelled? Fuller. That's exactly. So yeah, it's actually spelled fuller. Funny definition I've heard is a tool that creates a depression. Someone responded that their spouse was a fuller. I mean, I've seen jokes like that myself. And then I get to this point where it's like, if your spouse is that, if you don't like your spouse that much, maybe you should do something about it. I kind of feel like you should love your spouse and like actually like your spouse. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. There's something weird. There's like a cultural a culture of people who they joke around about how they actually hate their spouse here in the United States. I don't know if it's like around the world, but definitely here in the United States, there is this like cultural, I don't know, of people complaining about their spouse and how they just don't like them. And it's like, if you don't like your spouse, why are they your spouse? You know? There were two U.S. military ships called USS Fuller. Maybe they are also create depressions. I mean, maybe. Fuller is also a relatively common last name. And a lot of American naval ships are named after like notable people. I mean, there's also ships that are named after states and locations and things like that. But I believe the ships, like the Fuller ships, are actually named after a person. Now, don't quote me on that because I am not a military buff. It's just There's some other places that are named Fuller, and I believe that they are named after a person. Fuller is the groove in the sword that makes a fighter makes it lighter without making it white or weaker. Yeah. A fuller in a sword, which would be that the depression in there, it's just like a line where they've taken material out, and it actually ends up strengthening the weapon as opposed to weakening it, because the corners, every time you add a nice corner onto a piece of steel, it has a tendency to strengthen that piece of steel. So it's less when you actually completely remove the material. So if you put holes in it, it's not necessarily going to make it stronger. But if you put a fold in it, or if you put a fold in a piece of sheet, that will actually make that sheet stronger and it will remain more rigid. So that's kind of, how a fuller on a sword will work. As I read up on Wikipedia, both the impression and the tool to make it are called fuller. Yes, they definitely are. Fullering is the process of cleaning, shrinking, and felting cloth by heat, pressure, and moisture. Yeah, that's kind of, I guess I never really thought of it that way. I like when I went to school, there were a lot of textile majors who loved making felt, and they just called it felting. So that's basically where you wet a bunch of fibers and you kind of press them all together through pressure and like wet or moisture, and it just like press them into a felted fabric. And so I guess that's where in my head where that goes, but I mean, it could be considered felting, or fullering. I'm not familiar enough with textiles to give you a definitive answer on that one. All right. So we've got plenty of heat on the far end, so I'm going to flip this piece of steel over so that I can get more heat on the close section of this piece of steel. And then once we get it hot enough, we'll get started. I'm kind of looking forward to this. It should actually pop out relatively quickly, 1 or 2 heats. And then we'll be able to move on. Like I said, I really want to work on the cheeks of the hammer, which is the sides of the hammer. And then I also really want to work on the making a cross peen. So those of you who are unfamiliar with a cross peen, a lot of you guys that have been hanging around for a while, you guys know this is a cross peen hammer. You've got that nice rounded but flat head and broad face, and then on the opposite side you've got a long skinny face. So this is really good for spreading material in 2 directions as opposed to 365 degrees around the face. So you get a up and down stretch on this hammer face, and then this hammer face you get a lovely rounded stretching. Welcome in, Abidocious or Abidos. Okay, AI is weird. When I ask Deeple for fuller on a sword, I get a German word, saber-toothed tiger. Well, maybe not. I mean, I can see that a little bit. It does somewhat make a stripe down the sword. I need to move a box here real fast. a tiger can also make a depression. I mean, it can. I mean, we could be talking about a tiger's, footprints, or we could be talking about a tiger's psychological impact. The amount of fear that being stalked might have, or when you go to the zoo and you get really happy. That is a effect, I guess, of a tiger, I guess. A sharp-pointed depression in the skin. I mean, yeah. That's kind of, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to make, depressions, or, I believe, or, a lot of different things that are defined by, the word, fuller, I guess. So basically, for a spring fuller, what I want to do is take a piece of round stock, and a long piece of round stock, and then I want to bend it in half. And I don't want to bend it in half so that it's touching. I want a gap in the middle of it. So it's basically like a fork shape, I guess. And it doesn't necessarily need a handle, but it's just a long U-shaped piece of round stock steel. And so then we put that, we put the hammerhead in between the two forks, and then we squish through. So that will create the indent of the round stock onto the hammer, and that will create that depression and separate it from the handle and the head of the hammer. So that is our goal. But I still need to make a spring fuller tool. I have not had enough time to do that. I was a little bit tired yesterday. I'm not entirely sure why. I feel like the weekend before last was like really, really hard for me. And then, we forged all week like normal, and then I feel like I needed a rest. So I will get that done tomorrow so that by Wednesday we can use that spring fuller and start making the main hammer face. All right. So it looks like we've got plenty of heat. So I'm going to come over here and we're going to take a look at this side over here. We need to drop down the press down to this mark here so that we lose less heat. So we're going to do that real fast. And then we'll get started on the forging part of Ray's smithy today. And that's what everybody wants to see. That's the fun visual. Alrighty. Hey, Mahalo, welcome in. The term fuller is from Middle Eastern fuller, meaning one that folds, pleats cloth. Yeah, I want to see that slug drop out. Yes, we are definitely going to see that slug fall out today. Hopefully within the next 2 heats. I really want to keep on moving on this project. We've been working on it for 3 days, and we've all been doing the same thing over and over. All right, here we go. Whoops, I need to move this up, it looks like. All right, here we go. Seems to be moving pretty far in there. that is good. Come on. There we go. Where'd it go? I'm gonna turn that off and I'm gonna come over here. And I'm gonna look at this guy. Kind of confused actually. Whoops, where'd it go? It's on the floor. Alright. Whew. It fell on the floor. Alright, let's take a look at this guy before we put it back in the heat. Okay, you can kind of see it's right there. It just needs to come out. We will go the same direction, I think, and push through. I think it should come right out. It is completely separated on this side. It just needs to separate on this side. I think it just needs to be shoved and forced through. So we'll put that back in there. It'll heat back up. So close. And I thought that I was seeing the tip of the punch at the end, but no, that was still the slug. So soon, it will come out soon. Welcome in, Bluesy. Remember, it is hot. Okay, the corresponding German verb seems to be walken, which is translated from Wikipedia. The repeated deformation of elastic or plastic materials by mechanical processing such as kneading, pressuring, or pulling. I also know walken in connection with working fabric. Yeah, that makes sense. And it is a repeated pressure with the thinner, I guess, a thinner circumference, I guess. So basically what you're doing is you're taking a thin piece of, hammer or hardy tool or, even dies for your press or whatever you're going to use. It's got to have a skinny circumference, and you are kind of pushing it in and pulling it apart, kind of cutting it a little bit. Not a true cut, but like a pushing. It pushes the material apart. So like when like separating the material. So like when you're cutting people or through a mosh pit at a concert or something, you kind of, push your way through so that you can move forward, I guess. But yeah, it is a really interesting term. It's kind of jargony overall. The forge is pretty hot, and I feel like these guys are a little bit too short overall. Every time I want to use them, I feel like I'm burning the hairs off the back of my knuckles. Walking is also what tires do. Always too strong when they have too little air in them. With every rotation, the wheel may become deformed. It's pronounced Vulcan. Oh, that makes sense. The W's with the B's that sound like bees, I guess. I just shaved the hair off the back of my knuckles. Easier. I mean, yeah, it would be easier, and it probably wouldn't smell as bad, you know, if I just shaved it. But then the stubble, when you shave it and it just comes back, it just makes me really itchy. It doesn't itch quite as bad when the hair starts coming back after it's burned off, if that makes any sense at all. All right, I'm gonna put this guy back over here. And we're gonna bring this guy down a bit. There we go. That way we don't have to go down as far. Yes, German W is pronounced like English V, while German V is pronounced like F. See, I didn't know that. I know that there are a lot of languages where W is pronounced like an English V, but I did not know that V was pronounced like F. Interesting. All right, we're going to see if we can't get this all the way through. You guys ready? Let's do this. Maybe we'll do this. I'll try my best. All right. Gonna spend a little bit of time over here. I think we're gonna have to do one more heat. We're gonna have to come at it from the other side. But I think I'm learning things. Learning. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to come at it from this side this time. So it'll be kind of like this. So we're gonna heat this guy back up. Hopefully we can get it out. Hopefully. But I think at this point, it definitely is just trying to, or it's, you know, hanging on just to spite me at this point. Hey, Pyrex. So I think I wasn't paying attention to ads again, unfortunately. So yeah, I apologize if any of you guys missed that, but it did not go through yet. It will go through soon, I hope. But like I said, I really feel like it's just hanging on there just to spite me, you know? So we're gonna turn it over and we're gonna try from the other side. Hopefully it'll come out. You know, it would be nice if it did. But I don't know. Like I said, this is my first hammer, so this is my first experience attempting to get the plug out of a hammer eye hole, and it's just not cooperating. So, you know, I know that it's going to take as long as it takes, but I really wish that it would just decide to do it, you know? Welcome back, Pirates. And Sandwich. So the plug is kind of loose in there. Yeah, there's a part of me that wonders if it's just like stuck in there, and I just need to like use the drift to punch it all the way through. So if this next heat does not push it all the way through, I'm going to use the drift, and we're just gonna shove it out of there. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it over here. This is gonna go back over here where it belongs for the moment. But yeah, I want it to drop through my Hardy. If it does not drop through and, you know, fall out there. But it's being stubborn. I'm not excited about this. I had hoped that it would take a lot less time. Sounds like a good plan. I hope so. I hope it works. It would be nice if it did. All right, I'm gonna flip this steel over. And for those of you that just came in, I do not really have an update on the van for you guys, but I do have an update for you guys that's really exciting. Yesterday, we ordered a new laptop for the stream. It should arrive on Wednesday, so on Friday, we will start using it for the stream, and hopefully that eliminates all of the frame drops and all of the issues that I'm having on my end with OBS, and all of the crashes that the laptop itself has been seeing recently. So I'm really excited about that. I will be posting the link to the laptop that I got in the Discord at the end of the stream. I didn't want to derail the stream by talking about computer parts. So I will link it once the stream ends, and then you guys can, you know, discuss it and talk about it. But like I said, I was not the ultimate deciding factor on this particular laptop. My partner is more technologically inclined, so I just let him. So yeah. If I get it correctly, the main purpose of doing this with metal fullering is to work harden it for further production steps. I mean, I don't know. I think it's more like, for me, it's more of a, I just like the look of a fullered hammer. And I mean, there are different reasons that you would want to fuller things. And it heavily depends on what your motivation is. Is it for aesthetics, or is it for, you know, form because you need a particular form? I mean, there are probably reasons that you would do it for functionality. For this hammer, I do want to fuller the head because I just think it looks nicer. And that's really the only reason. It's not an amazingly good reason, it's just a reason. I guess it's better than drilling a hole. It moves the structure of the metal rather than severing it. Yes. And congratulations on the new computer. Yeah, thank you. I also guess drills are not really an option until more recently. I mean, there have always been ways that you can drill. There are primitive drills that have been in use since even in ancient Egypt, you know, there have been drills around, but you lose less material. So when you're drilling, you're actually removing all of the material to bore into it, and you know, you lose a lot of material. This method, I'm actually shoving material out of the way and retaining that material. You are only losing a tiny little like core, a very thin piece of steel, and so you maintain more of that material that you can, you know, move in other places in other ways. Yep. You need a hammer to make a hammer. Who made the first hammer? I mean, like I've said in the past, you know, you can, you know, a hammer can be made by lashing a stone and a stick together. So, I mean, as long as you've got a stone, you can make a hammer. So, I don't know. It was, you know, the original primitive hammers were probably pretty crude. You're using a hammer to make a hammer in this method. It's just a little bit more efficient. You know, you've got crude tools, and then the more sophistication of your tools. It's just, you know, it's efficiency. Your answer is plausible, but I like mine better. Yeah. It all starts with punching a tree. I mean, yeah, you gotta punch a tree to get a stick off, right? Alrighty. Let's see if we can't get this thing to come out. This heat, fingers crossed. However, it might take, you know, one more heat, so let's try this. I'm trying. Oh, I forgot to lower the press. Let me do that real fast. One of these days I'll remember to lower the press before I like flip the camera. All right, here we go. Let's do this. I'm gonna try from this side. This is the opposite side that we tried before. Try and hold this nice and straight in there. Part of the reason I think that I've been having a lot of trouble is that this guy isn't, like, it's been tilted a little bit. And that's made it very difficult to get it straight up and down. That's also another reason that I did not drill this hole, is because I don't have a drill press. So getting a straight up and down hole is very difficult. All right, look at that, guys. That right there, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out soon. So I'm gonna pull this off of here, and then we're gonna use the drip for our next heat. And it will definitely come out. All right, let's get this out of here. Come on. Come on. Maybe it'll come out, maybe it won't. I hope it comes out. Goodness gracious. It definitely does not want to come out of here. Come on. Goodness gracious, I cannot get this out of here. I don't know. You guys are watching, all right? It's kind of locked in here. Part of me that wonders if I need to cool this down, but I'm afraid that if I do that, it will all right. That's fun. All right, how am I going to get this out of here? I don't know. Anybody got any advice? Any thoughts? Cool it down, then it should be fully shrunk on. No. Just be tighter on there. Yeah, I kind of do. I feel like it would be a lot tighter on there if I cooled it down. Maybe if I do this a little bit. Will it come out that way? Stuck. If I come over here like so. Goodness gracious. Ha! It's out. Finally. Goodness Goodness gracious, that was a lot of effort. Super amounts of effort. However, I did actually dislodge the plug a little. So it, in theory, should come out on our next heat. So we'll put that back in there just so that we can heat it up. All right. Good content, though. Yes, we did it. Well done. I think chat willed it out for you. Yes, right? Goodness gracious. And there's a whole bunch of like little dings in this, so I'm going to have to redo it again. You can kind of see some like little dings in that tool. It did not harm my hammer, but it did harm the this guy. So I'm gonna have to redo this top section here. I think it'll be all right though. They're not too bad dings anyway. Super amounts of effort though. All right. Next time, hold the hammer at the end of the hammer or of the handle. You'll have a lot more power. It is out partially. I could clearly see the light of the forge through the hole. Yes, it is out partially. Just use the punch this time. You are a blacksmith. You can do it. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to move this camera, and we are going to use the drift to pull it out this time. So we're gonna focus on the hardy hole, and we'll get it out this time for sure, for sure. There is, like Sandwich said, I can see light through that hole, so it'll come out. I am positive this time it'll come out. So we'll just use the drift this time, that way this guy doesn't get stuck in there. And I will put this guy over here. I don't have a good place for it on the rack. I need to make a new rack. So I don't know, maybe I'll do that for the moment. So we're gonna use this guy and we're gonna pull that out. After it gets nice and heated, it was really cooler. So it's definitely going to take a little bit longer to heat up again. But yeah, that was really exciting, right? All of the drama of getting that stuck in there and getting it out. That was a win. That was definitely a win. Could you have just oxyacetylene the hole out? The oxyacetylene, or if I don't actually have a proper oxyacetylene rig. I mean, I have a rig, I have all of the hoses and the regulators and things like that, and I even have an acetylene tank, but my oxygen tank is like this big, actually. I mean, literally it's about yay big, but it takes twice as much oxygen to acetylene mix in order to get a cutting flame. And something like that is really, really thick. So it would take quite a bit of oxyacetylene or a laser, and I just don't have the capability of doing that. The best way to create this hammer eye drift, or this hammer eye hole, was to actually drift it out or punch it out. And so that's what I decided to do. I also wanted to learn this process. This is my very first hammer, and so every mistake I make is a learning experience, and I am learning things about all of this stuff. So I'm actually, you know, regardless of how difficult this becomes and how hard I've made this on myself, I am learning things. And I won't have to go through as many of the same issues for my next hammer or for an axe that I want to do later on this summer. So we are learning together. Uh, would the time savings have been worth it? Like I said, I'm all about the learning process and the drama. And, yes, as long as on Twitch and YouTube, it is content. It is totally worth watching. If you had a hammer, you'd hammer in the morning. Yeah, hammer in the morning, hammer in the evening. Hammer in the afternoon time. That's not how that song goes. I think I forgot a line in there. All over the land. That's probably it. Agreed. Hammers are a readily available item. There is no point in making one unless you want the learning experience. Yeah, and that's really what I want to be able to make my own tools. Making my own tools allows me to make them exactly the way I want them. Now, right now, because this is my very first one, I'm not going to be able to make it exactly the way I want to because it's my first one. And you know what? Because it's my first one, it's going to suck. And I'm okay with that, It's a learning experience. I want to learn. It's a process. The more hammers I make, the better I'll get at it. But right now, it sucks. And I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. And I figure, it'll be fun to bring you with me. So that is my goal, is, to bring you with me as I'm learning to make this new project. I'm out of water, so I'm going to get some more from behind the camera real fast. And then from there, I will probably pull the steel out, and we're going to see if I can't get it to, fall on the ground, the plug. It is a giant disaster back here. So those of you who were here early already heard, but my partner hit the battery in his car this morning was dead, and so we had to jump it. But the jumper cables were way too short, and so I had to clean out the carport ridiculously early this morning so that we could move the truck close enough. And so now all of the stuff that used to be in the carport that I got out of the shop because I needed extra room is now in the shop, filling up the space that I had. And so now it's like a tripping hazard all over the place back there. So tomorrow and, well, probably tonight, maybe into tomorrow, I'm going to be moving some of that stuff back. So I have my space back. Make a special place on the wall to mount it, and then mount it next to the next one and that, so on and so on, so we can see your progress. Yes. I remember the song. I was around when it came out. It's one of those songs that my grandparents used to sing when I was a little kid. All right, let's try this. Let's try and get this plug out of here. So you can see, I'm gonna put you right there. That'll be a good place for you. Okay, so this right here is the Pritchell hole. And what this is for, I'm gonna try and get the plug to go all the way through. I do have a magnet down here, and because that magnet is there, it's probably gonna catch the plug. So we shall see. Okay, we're gonna put it on this side, and then I'm gonna go pop down, pop down. Hey, look at that! Look at that! That was so fast. Check this out, guys. Woohoo! Look at it. And that right there is the plug. So This is the amount of material that I lost from this hole, this whole hole. I mean, if you look at this, see that? If I were to have drilled that, I would have lost so much more material than that little tiny plug right there. That is exciting. Look at that. That's really cool. All right, so that's gonna go over there. And then I'm gonna heat this up again. The next heat, we are going to drive this down here like so. And we're gonna start working on this bulge. There's this lovely like cheeks. It's like, you know, somebody's blowing a gum bubble or something. You know, I kind of want to flatten that out a little bit. So now that we've got that hole completely and all the way through, that's the next plan, is to kind of flatten that back out again. Not completely flat, but kind of flat. All right, yay, first try. I'm older than Ray, but not that old. It was a Peter, Paul, and Mary song. I was born in 49, wow. 81 there. I was born in 1986. So, you know, I'm about 3 years older than Taylor Swift, and, you know. So I am almost 39 years old next month. Next month, I'll be 39. That's crazy. I feel old. Except I don't actually feel all that old. But I do wish that, you know, maybe I was a little bit more accomplished in my life. I don't know. That's a pretty small bit to lose. The whole hole, yeah. Does flattening have, or that do anything aside from aesthetics? It is completely aesthetics, Maxon. Oh, I like the bulge. Just stick a handle in it and call it done. I know I am old. The song is older than them, though. Yeah, but it was written when I was in the womb. I'll be 44 in October. My partner will turn 40 this year, and I'm debating if I want to like do something crazy for it, because I mean that's a, you know, that is a milestone. But I also don't. I feel like if I do something for my partner, then he'll do something for me. And I don't really know that I want him to do something for me next year when I turn 40. You know, I don't want to. Maybe I'll just decide that I'm just going to turn 39 for a second time. And then I'll be just 39 for the, you know, first, second, third, fourth, you know, time. We'll see. But yeah, that plug was really, really tiny because we moved all the material towards those sides, as opposed to getting rid of it by drilling through or using oxyacetylene or lasers or anything like that. That is exactly why I wanted to do it that way, so that I had all of that material to play with. Orange Crush, thank you so much for that follow. Except for that, we're on ad time now, so you probably won't have seen that. So I will definitely thank you again once the ads are done. My wife gave me a lot of crap when I turned 40. I returned the favor. But lasers do sound like fun. Man, lasers do sound like fun. I really want a laser cutter. So it's been a while. Been a while since Bluesy was like, I guess maybe since that song happened. Is that what we're talking about? I don't know. So it looks like we're done with ads. Orange Crush, thank you so much for following. I think you followed about an hour ago, so I totally missed it because I've been like really hardcore looking at or trying to get this stupid plug out of here. So I apologize for the late thank. But yes, thank you for that follow and welcome to the community. Yeah, because I became 40 in '89, so it's been a while. Yeah, it has. I guess that it's been a while. '89 is a while. I mean, I was only 3. Not to make anyone sound or feel old, because you're only as old as you feel, as you allow yourself to be. When getting 40, you can say you are 28. Do not have to mention that it is a hexadecimal, right? You're welcome. I really like your stream. Thank you so much, Orange. I'm glad you like it. I try to make it entertaining. All right, here we've got the material. It's nice and hot. So the next process, I am actually going to go behind the camera and start recording the wide shot. But the next process we're going to do is we're going to start putting the drift through, which means I need a glove. I need a left glove. That's a right glove. Here's my left glove. I need a left glove so that I can kind of work it. Because this punch is going to get, or this drift is going to get really, really hot after we drive it in there. So yeah, we're going to start working on the sides. It's really bulbous, and I kind of want to straighten it out just a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit, because it's not going to fit real well on my hammer rack. And I want to make sure that it fits pretty decently. So that's going to be our next process. I'm 21, just with 54 years of experience. I mean, exactly. I am 39 again, or 38 again, maybe. All right, let's see if I can't make this happen. Okay. I'm gonna do that, and then I think I'm gonna do that. I'll put you over there this time. My magnet's making this difficult already. Okay. Yay. Scale. All the scale. All right, so we're gonna heat that up again. We'll see what we can do with it. So we've gotten it to a little bit flattened. We still need some more, but I really want to get more heat on this. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'll stick this back in here. There's scale jumping off of that thing. I got a burn on my finger right there. It's nice and crispy. It'll be alright though. I don't actually have a lot of burning sensation in the tips of my fingers anymore. After so many years of doing blacksmithing and jewelry work, kind of gotten rid of the burning sensation in my, in my nerves. Still don't want to burn, but, it happens. You are 0 times 48. That is a bit obvious. With 80, you are 0 times 50. That is a bit better again. And Mahalo says it's hammer time. It's so totally hammer time. I feel like maybe I should do like the hammer time dance. I think it's something like this. I don't know. I'm not very good at dancing. Let's cool this down just a little bit. So it gets kind of hot when it's inserted into the hole as a backing. And I think that it's a little bit, the hole's a little bit wider than I originally wanted it to be. So I think I might try and upset it a little bit closer, a little bit thinner maybe. Right now the hole is pretty darn big, so I'm hoping that I can upset it a little bit skinnier. Crispy Ray sounds like a good brand name for a restaurant chain. Yes, need an animated emote of the dance. Yes, the hammer time dance. Oh wait, it's this one, isn't it? I don't know. MC Hammer. I'm not amazingly good with pixel art, but we'll see what I can do. I might be able to get us an animated hammer time, like a little chibi pixel Ray doing the hammer time dance. It's hammer time. We have to be old enough to know that one. We do have to be old enough to do. I'm almost not old enough to know that one, but I do. Almost not old enough. Alrighty. Let's see. So I think I'm going to use the cross peen to kind of thin out and draw out the center area where that hammer is. It's also going to flatten it a little bit, but it will be a little weirdly like zigzaggy at first. But I really want to thin that out. So we'll see what I can do on that. I'm trying to follow the steps that I've seen in the tools to make tools videos that Alex Steele does and a few other blacksmiths that I've seen do the hammers. So I'm really trying to like remember the different steps. But I'm only, this is like my first time doing it. So we'll see how well it goes. How much I remember. Given the temperatures in play with can't touch this, I can agree. I mean, you definitely can't touch anything in there. Can't touch this. I think most of my experience with MC Hammer, though, is from the 1980s Ninja Turtle movies, like the live action ones from the 80s. It's like my main exposure to like MC Hammer as well as like Vanilla Ice. So, because I don't know, I feel I was a kid and I didn't get to watch a lot of TV, but I did get to watch the live action Ninja Turtle movies. Because Ninja Turtles were my favorite back in the day. All right, we're going to do another heat. We're going to see how this goes. And I'm going to put you guys over there. have to come up with a different way to go about that, I think. I'm not getting enough area to swing on it, so we're gonna have to come up with something else. So I'm thinking, let's use the press. That's my solution for the moment. We're gonna try and use the press. I saw Vanilla Ice live about 14 years ago and felt really old. Will the press move it? The press should move it. Theoretically, the press should move it. So we are going to cool this down a little bit. And then I have to put dies on this press. Remember we took the dies off so that we could use the punch. So now I gotta take the dies off, or like this plate off, and put the dies back on. So I've got two dies, they are combo dies. And we've talked about these a little bit before. There's like this round section and then the flat section. So I've got a top and a bottom. We're gonna place the top on here first, or I guess the bottom on here first. And then we're gonna place the top. All right. No, it's this way. Okay. So there that goes. Whoops. I go this direction, not that direction. So right now I am putting on the dies. Probably, maybe. Looks like I am. All right. That one's on pretty good. And now we're gonna line up this back die. But the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna pull it up. Because we don't need it that far apart. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. All right. Okay, so those are actually too far or too close together. We're not going to get our piece of steel in there. Because that's way too close together. So I need to do something else. Maybe we'll pull this down again. So these are ridiculously far apart right now. But I think we can make it work. the same way we made the other thing work. We'll see if we can't do that. I hope we can do this. Fingers crossed we can do this. I do have one other thing that I can try if this ends up being a little bit if this doesn't work the way I think it will. But we shall see. We like to move it. At the end of the heat, you can mark the best position on the press again. Maybe ease that old, erase the old chalk marks. Yeah. So that's kind of how I think that we're gonna try and do this. I am gonna have to move the other camera over here. And we definitely will move the chalk marks if we have to. I do also have the ability to put a spacer on the bottom plate to move that die up. So I might also have to do that. I'm not positive. But I have the plate that we used to raise the to raise it when we were doing the punch, and then I also have some thicker pieces of steel or some thinner pieces of steel that I can use by moving the bottom plate up one notch. So we'll see. This might take a little bit of twiddling about, a couple heats. So we'll do what we can though. The press. I like the press. It's a pretty good press. So I really, really wish what I could do. Like I really wish that I had another camera that I could like go from the anvil to the press, because I still have to put the drift into the hammer before I take it over to the press. So you won't be able to see that except in the little inset, but I do what I can. I only have 2 cameras. 2 cameras. All right, let's try this. Let's see how this works. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot to change the cameras. I'll put that back in there, and then I will like flip camera views. And then we'll do that. We'll do that, I think. I think that'll work. That goes there. This goes here. Then this comes over here, like so. Let's try it over here on the flat die. It seems to be working. We're flattening it out a little bit. Look at that. So the next time I need to flip this around so that we're coming at it from the other side. Back in the fire you go. And in the quench bucket you go. There's a hornet over there. Alright. Seems to be working alright. I definitely think it's working the way I want it to. Was the angle alright on that camera? I hope it was. This is a bug-free zone. Yes. I hope it's a bug-free zone. Okay, cool. I think I need to push this down a little bit so that we're ready for our next heat. It is warm today, guys. It's definitely warm today. So I actually like this size right here. It was really low for the other process, but this process, it seems pretty good. So we'll keep it there. Yay! It seems to be working pretty well. So yeah, I'm actually pretty happy so far with what we're getting. Soon we will spin it we will turn it 90 degrees and start working on that cross peen area. We'll start at the tip and then we'll bring it back. But for the moment, I still want to continue working on those sides a little bit. I think overall we're getting pretty decent results. So yeah, that makes me really happy. Because like I said, this is my first hammer, so we're learning a lot. So, Twitch has given me 7 uses of subscription discounts that I can activate at any time between now and December. And like I said, I have 7 uses of it. So I'm thinking it's like a 70-hour sale. So I'm thinking that maybe on Monday I will turn the first one on in celebration of the new laptop. So it's like, I think it's discounts on gifted subs, but I'm not positive on that. So we'll turn that on, and if you wanna sub or gift subs, that would be amazing. If not, no worries. I got 7 uses of it. I just kind of want to burn them, just to kind of test how it works and see if it, if we like it or not. If we don't like it, then I just won't use the rest of them. They'll just expire. But I think Twitch is testing a couple things. like I said, I'll give you the discount, and you can decide whether you want to subscribe or not. No pressure. It's just, they give it to me, might as well pass on the savings. Do you have PayPal? Maybe I do have PayPal. It is. I also have KoFi. And that's down on the page, and you guys can support me directly from there. I also, there's the Amazon Prime subscriptions. Those also give me a little bit of kickback, and bits and paid subs. They also give me some kickback. Like I said, no pressure. I just like the community that we're building here, and just you guys watching me, I still get support from in the form of ad revenue. So don't feel pressure. If you want to, that's great. If not, no big. I'll still be here. You can still watch. There is an ad that is about to start, so I will wait until that ad ends before I start the next attempt here on the press, or the next heat, and we're gonna keep on keeping on. We're gonna see how this goes. Making these cheeks and starting the cross peen section of this hammer. I also really want to bevel the edges of the main head. Right now, the piece of steel is a little bit on the rectangular side, so I kind of want to, make it a little bit more square or octagonal. One of the two. I haven't decided quite yet. We'll see what we can do. I find KoFi on the info page, but not PayPal. KoFi goes directly to my PayPal. I don't have I don't have my PayPal directly listed because it's been years since I've actually used that for direct payment, and the last time I used it for direct payment was for eBay transactions. So I'm not amazingly familiar with it. I can look into it if you guys are interested. So yeah, once again, I don't know if you heard it or not. I'm not amazingly familiar with direct pay on PayPal, so I can look into it for Wednesday or Friday or whatever. But I don't have a listing for a direct payment to PayPal right now. I just am not. It's been forever since I've done direct payment on PayPal. Two. I need some more water, so I will grab some more water and then we'll do the next heat. My partner says that at some point we should look at doing a Patreon, but I just don't know what I would do for Patreon yet. I could do early videos if that's something that you guys are interested in. Right now, I have a 1.5 video lead time on the videos for YouTube, and they definitely would be ad free on PayPal if that's on Patreon if that's something you guys are interested in. But like I said, I don't really want to beg people for money. I appreciate all support, any support that you decide that you'd like to give me, but I'm not going to try and guilt trip you on it or anything. It's just, the only reason I mention money at all is that, I just figured I'd let you guys know that I will be turning on the subscription discounts on Monday, so maybe you can plan. That would be a good idea. The PayPal, or I mean the Patreon. That might be, you know, I've thought about it. But the first thing I want to do is get some of my other stuff up and running, like my website and stuff, so that I can link to everything from like a website. All right, we are going to do another heat. Usually you get more direct contact to the creator on Patreon, but no offense, you are not that much of a celebrity yet that you are difficult to reach. So maybe discussions about projects or so. Yeah, like I said, I don't really feel like I'm ready for a Patreon because like I just don't feel like I have enough value to give yet. There will come a time, I think, I hope. I guess that's the goal anyway. But right now, I still think it's a little bit too early to be thinking about Patreon. You know? We've still got like the fact that I'm not even monetized on YouTube yet, and you know, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I need to, you know, work through before I'm ready for that. All right, here we go. Let's try this. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Back in the fire. So we're getting some pretty flat sides, so I'm pretty happy with that. So we're gonna keep on keeping on. That can go in there. Raw. And in that direction. Okay. Discord project discussions now. Yeah. On Patreon, you can still adjust the levels to what you think the corresponding content is worth. You are monetized from day one on Patreon. Yeah, see, that's kind of why I went with KoFi too. KoFi also has like just, you don't have to subscribe to KoFi. It's just like you can give regular, just like a straight donation. And I mean, I could just like start up a Patreon and be like, you know, $1 tier or like $0 tier, you know. We could probably do that. I could set that up. We could have just regular, you know, discussions on projects. We could do, you know, I could do critiques for you guys' projects. You guys could give me suggestions. You know, we could do all kinds of stuff. And You know, I'll do what I can for a week early on videos. So I mean, I could set one up with like a $0 a month pledge, and we can move up from there. You know, see how consistent I can be. I don't really want to charge you guys for nothing, you know. And I feel like I'm still kind of catching my groove with this. I feel like I'm still experimenting and, you know, trying to figure out what this this stream and what my YouTube is all about. So, you know, I don't think that it's fair to like charge an arm and a leg or, you know, a lot of money, you know. But it would be nice to, you know, at least cover the propane every once in a while, you know. And I mean, you guys do cover my propane sometimes. I do actually get payouts from Twitch it's about every other month. I get about a $50 payout, and that's like, you know, 2 cans of propane, you know. So we normally go through about a can of propane every week. So ideally, uh, it would be about $100 a month, would do a lot to sustain the project. But for the moment, you know, it is what it is. And like I said, I don't think that my content is like a high enough quality to really, you know, ask for a whole lot of money yet. So, you know, you are more than welcome to be here and watch for free. I greatly appreciate you guys' support just by being here and talking with me. It's, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of encouragement and support already. New donation from Basic Salad Sandwich. Thank you so much. Wow. That's pretty good. I'm pleased Twitch pays you something. Yeah. Thank you so much for your support, Sandwich. Thank you so much. That is incredible. Thank you. You make the last part of my ship go by faster by me tuning in. Awesome. See, I know that, you know, I am second monitor content, you know, before bed, you know, at the end of a shift. You know, I'm more like a podcast and, you know, with a little bit of fire, you know. But I greatly appreciate all of your support, monetarily and just your presence. But thank you so much, Sandwich, for that donation. I greatly appreciate it. I will put that to good use. We'll get some propane. That's gonna get some propane for sure. Yes. All the propanes. All right. Let's do another heat. Really exciting. All right. So let's go to the press cam. And I'm gonna put me over there. That way you guys can kind of see me, you know, putting the all right, which side do I want to do? Do I want to do this side or do I want to do the other side? I think I want to do this side. That's kind of hot. Maybe I don't touch it with that hand. You know, that would probably be a nice thing. All right. Did I do this backwards? Maybe, but it's alright. Okay. Alright. We're looking pretty good. If you guys can kind of tell, I'll put that right there, and then you guys can kind of see that we've lost a lot of that fudge. It's really nice and flat there. So I think next what I'm gonna do is we are going to take a little bit of time, and we're gonna work on these top edges on one side. There we go. Much more better. Just like so. Nice, nice. Okay, we are going to turn this direction and stick this back in here. Or we're going to drop it, one of the two. There we go. Much more better. And this is going to go in here. So yeah, I think it seems to be working pretty well. I'm pretty excited. So like I said, we're going to make this into a cross peen hammer. So that's the next process I'm going to work on is squishing out the cross peen area of this hammer. At least that's the goal. Interesting. €1 is worth almost $1.17 currently, but PayPal only gives me $1.12 for it. Huh. Not sure what the rate is when paying by credit card. Well, there is totally I know that there is a fee with a lot of credit cards for currency exchange. So, I mean, that might been a thing. But I don't know for sure. I don't buy a lot of stuff from other countries. I have bought some stuff from China, and the exchange rate is relatively favorable between the United States, or at least at the time, it was very favorable between China and the United States. But honestly, I don't know. And I know that the rates aren't nearly as favorable as they have been in the past. Right. I also have that. PayPal might be cheaper, actually. I don't know. Like I said, it's been a while since I have purchased anything from another country. I think the last time I did, I was buying fabric from China, and it was relatively inexpensive per yard. And for the same fabric here in the United States, it was super expensive. So I ordered it and had it shipped in and imported. I made a doublet for fencing with it. It was a black brocade that had phoenixes on it. It was pretty cool. Phoenixes and dragons. But I did not stitch fix it when I made it. So like when I washed it the first time, a lot of the threads came undone, so I have to go, or I have to fix it. I have enough material like in the seams that I can fix it, but I haven't gotten around to doing it. Wait for this to heat up some more. And then, like I said, we're going to start working on the cross peen area. So this will be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. I am a little bit nervous, but we'll figure it out. We will definitely figure it out. I am going to close this a little bit, but we're not going to go all the way down to the bottom mark here. We're probably going to go up a little bit because the hammer is taller than it is wide right now, and I want to make sure that I leave myself enough gap so that I can get it in there. So we're going to do that real fast. Maybe I will go to the bottom mark. I don't know. I think that's plenty big a gap. Exciting! I'm super excited, guys. I'm having a blast. I'm learning a lot, and we're getting a hammer made. The hole is actually pretty decently sized. I think it'll look good. I think it'll function pretty well for the moment. We could totally screw it up by doing this cross beam, but you never know. I think I can abort relatively quickly, and it'll be no harm, no foul. So that is, that's my goal, is to kind of take a look at it and see what we can do. Make sure that I want to continue. So you can kind of tell on this drift where it's been sitting. It's kind of been sitting at the halfway mark on this drift. So I kind of feel like if I do another drift, I'm not going to draw it out nearly as much, because I don't want it to be in the middle, because that makes it hot on either side. And I have to wear the glove already, and I don't want to burn myself. So it's kind of a live and learn thing. So for our next heat, we're not actually going to need to use this guy. We're going to actually be using the tongs. We're just gonna put it in there with the two tongs in the hammer hole, and we're gonna kind of direct it using the tongs instead. At least that's, the theory that I have. The impression, that's the impression I get. All right, let's try this. We're gonna see how it functions. Let's do this. I don't want to do it that way. I don't want to do it this way. There we go, that's better. All right, it's taking a while to get all the way down. not a good way to hold it. Let's hold it like this, maybe. That's not a good way either. What's the best way to hold it? I gotta come up with a much more secure way to do this. Alright. So we can kind of see that we have started to switch it, but not in any like really evident way. It's not switched a lot. And part of that looks like I moved the die, so maybe that is going to affect it. We're learning as we're doing. Alright, I need to get some of the scale off of here. The best I can. Need a good way to hold this, or a better way to hold this. Back in the fire we go. Do we have a better way to hold it? I don't know. I guess this needs to go over there. Mighty Boss Tones just got in my head now. I also saw them on the Warp Tour in Hawaii. Ooh, Hawaii. My partner's a fan of Mighty Boss Tones, but I was never really a fan. But I have heard, you know, Impression and that song, because I feel like that one's kind of more of a mainstream song. So I can't really say that I'm a big ska fan, but I've heard that one. So I'm hoping this works. It might be a little bit slow going at first until I get a feel for what I'm doing. Like I said, the bottom die is kind of moving a little bit, so I think I need to come over here and tighten it up a bit. Or figure out a way to tighten it. Let me get down here like so, and kind of see if I can't rejigger it a little. All right, that should work for the moment. I do enjoy some ska music. I saw a meme on Facebook where they were talking about how ska is the kind of music that plays in a 12-year-old boy's head when he gets an extra cheese stick on his lunch tray. And I mean, I can't help but think that's the case. It is kind of a funny meme. I do have the mental age of a 12-year-old boy, and I do love cheese sticks. See, I love cheese sticks too, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't get to eat cheese sticks. At least not without taking Lactaid, which is a pill that gives me the enzyme to eat dairy. I do not have a strong immune system as far as dairy. I'm kind of weak. You can eat them, but you'll pay for it later. Exactly. And I don't want to pay for it later. Because, I mean, ad. Yeah, we got some ads going. Wow, it has been 2 hours already. Time has flown today. I honestly did not realize that it was that long already, or that it had been that long already. So, all weekend it was raining, like storming, and so it really cooled off overall. And so it's not as hot as it was on Friday. We're not really under a heat advisory or anything. But I mean, it's warm, but I'm not like dying like I was on Friday. So I'll probably be able to work for for a little while longer, which is always welcome. Or at least I hope it's always welcome. But I do love hanging out with you guys for longer, So on Wednesday, I will see if I can't get a spring fuller finished or made and finished so that I can use that under the press and get a separation between the hammer face and the hammer eye. It will also probably help us a little bit with with continuing on the cross peen part of the hammer. We'll do our best with just the dies today, but I definitely think that a spring fuller will work a lot better. I haven't decided if I want to put them on dies themselves or if I want to just hold them in my hand while I'm using them. I think maybe putting them on a die would probably be the best thing. So that means I need to cut some plate and do some welding tomorrow, and that'll be fun. I will have to sleep. Have a good stream and a nice day. Thank you so much, Sandwich, for joining us. Thank you for your support on on KoFi. Thank you so much for that. And have a nice night. Sleep well. Thanks for joining. All right. So the ad is done. I'm going to do another heat. We'll see what we can do. This one and that one. Ouch. Nice and hot, man. It's nice and hot. Which side was I doing? Was it this side? It was this side. So that means I need to turn it around. All right. Here we go. See if I can get this to work correctly. Oh, it's halfway in between the two halves of the die. So if you look on this side, you can see a little bit of fish tailing. You can see where it has, where I've used the dye. So it seems to be working all right. I need to flatten that out and correct that a little bit. So we'll do that on the next heat. But back in the fire. I think this will probably take a little bit of time to do. Oh, I knew that would happen. My dyes are a little bit on the skinny side, and that is resulting in the corners between the flat and the rounded die are kind of starting to mar the corners a little bit. So we can still fix that, but we got to be really careful that we catch it before it gets too bad. Oh, just woke up. Welcome in, Alex. Did I read that right? I think I read that right. I hope I read that right. Is Alex an okay name for you? Welcome to the stream. We are currently working on turning our hammer into a cross peen hammer. So we've gotten the hole all the way through, and now we're kind of squishing the back end, kind of like this one. So we want to get that nice taper down, that flat taper, so we can get a nice cross peen hammer. It is Alexis, and Alex is acceptable. Awesome. I will try to remember Alexis. I almost thought that it was Alexis, but I was like, Alexis and Alex is, so I wasn't sure which one it was. So I will try to make a mental note that it's Alexis. I like to call people by their preferred name as best as possible. So I think for our next heat, we're gonna flip the piece over because we're getting a little bit more taper on one side than on the other side. So if we continue to flip it 180 degrees, we should get in a more even squish, a more even taper. So that is our current goal. We will also be using the flat dies to kind of, or on the sides to kind of keep it parallel and in line with the rest of the body of that hammer. We really only want it to be growing in one direction. We don't want it to fan out into a fishtail, because that's going to be a lot of material to grind off. So I want to make it longer, and then we'll chop it, and then we'll have plenty of space to grind. But so we want it to grow in this direction, not in this direction. I'm almost done with my third one. Got a hole in my lip today. Sorry. So I hope we're having fun today. I know I am. I'm learning quite a lot already. And you know, I've done a lot of problem solving, and problem solving is one of my favorite things about blacksmithing. There's always something that needs tending to, or you know, something that you need to think about, and I love that. Although I feel like it is a lot easier to solve those problems in blacksmithing than in woodworking. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not a big, you know, woodworking fan. If I cut something too short in woodworking, you know, I have to start from scratch or start over. But if I cut something a little bit too short in metal, I can draw it down or weld on another piece, or you know, it's a lot easier to fix. At least I think it's a lot easier to fix. Whew. I am starting to get a little bit on the warm side, but we're still all right. We'll keep on going for a little bit longer and see how far we can get today with this cross pea. I'm pretty sure that we'll get a little bit further with the spring fullers, because they're designed just to like in the same way that a cross peen hammer is. So you get a lot more forging, a lot more stretching, perpendicular to the direction of that face. So we'll see. We're learning, we're growing, and I mean, it's going to take some time. This is probably going to be the slowest hammer I ever make, you know, because every time I learn something, you know, things get faster because I have a better idea of what's going on and what I need to do, what's expected of me, and how to expect, or like how the metal is going to respond. So that's very exciting. We're going to do another heat. And I'll put you over there again. We're going to see how this goes. I want to flip this guy this direction. Or no, I want to flip it this direction. There we go. So it's starting to get squishy. That's really nice. So for our next heat, we're going to go over to the straight side and we're going to switch this direction. So back in the heat this goes. And I'm going to do that. It didn't start going up. That's good. I think we're actually getting some good work in. It's going to be a little bit slow going, like I said, but I think it's going to happen. We're definitely going to get a cross peen out of this. I'm really excited. And then I will have something to show off to the other smiths at the Quad State. So in September, I'm going to Quad State, which is in Ohio, and it is a blacksmithing conference that includes 4 different states in the Midwest. So there's going to be a lot of blacksmiths there. And I've gotten into contact with the guys who who did the tools to make tools class at the Indiana blacksmith conference, and they said that they wanted to get me out to their class at Quad State. So if I can get this nice hammer all finished, I'll have something to show and be like, hey, I made a hammer on my own. Let's make another one. So that's really exciting. I'm thinking this is doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy so far. I think I'm gonna grab a Gatorade real fast from the fridge, and then I will be back. I apologize. I'm gonna put that there, and then I will be right back. I won't be gone too long. Okay. From the garage. Quad State is a blast. I went from Texas 2018 through 24. I'm not going from Australia, however. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's a big plane ride from Australia. But yeah, I'm really excited to go to Quad State. I'm starting to develop some industry contacts in, like the Midwest. And so I would like to meet up with some of the people that I met in Missouri and Indiana, and then make some new friends from Ohio and some of the other areas. Like I said, people from all over the country go, and I really want to meet people, It's going to be fun. I really want to set up some good interviews for people so that we can do some videos for YouTube, and we're definitely going to do a live stream from the floor, see what all is around, and I'm really looking forward to it. I hope we're going to be able to bring the van. We have a deadline for the van. We want to get it by August so that we can get it all nice and set up so that our inaugural trip can be Quad State. We can kind of run it through its paces. But it should be a blast. All right, so we've got plenty of heat, so we are going to do that next press. I don't know why it did that. Okay. Once I move this guy down, it was down, and then it must have come back up again. I find that irritating. gonna bring it a little bit further down. So maybe about here, I think. All right, let's do this. Another heat. Make sure you hang out in the Brazil Hut Grove or Nut Grove. It will make sense when you see it. They are great people. That is exactly where I was invited. I was invited to hang out with the guys over there. And they said that they're going to help me make a hammer at night. So I'm really looking forward to it. So we flatten that out a bit. So now we're going to go back to that 90 degrees and we're going to keep on drawing this down so that we can get a nice cross peen going. It's going to look pretty good, I think. Pretty good. So back in the fire we go. Rob Ho does a lot of hammers in the evening. Brian didn't make it last year, but Ed was there. I don't know, like, I was invited over YouTube, so I don't know the specific people's names that invited me, but yeah, I was invited to go and hang out over there. So I definitely will, and I'll try and make some videos of it for YouTube. I think it's going to be a little bit late for me to stream, but we shall see. I'm going to do the best I can to make a hammer there. However, I'm not sure if I will actually be able to do so because of my stamina. I will, or that weekend's going to be really tough on me. So we'll see how much effort I have left by the end of the day. But I will be there, hanging out. And having some fun talking to people. I'll try to make a hammer. I don't know if I'll manage it, but we'll see. My goal is to make a hammer with them. So we're gonna do a couple more heats, and then I will probably raid off, because it's starting to get a little bit on the late side over here. So we're at 2.5 hours. So I think I'll probably raid off around the 3-hour mark. So that's going to give us a good 2 or 3 more heats. So look forward to that. And then we will continue on Wednesday with the spring fuller. And we will also be watching for the laptop from the Amazon man. So on Wednesday, like I said, I will be kind of half glued to my phone just so that I can make sure that I don't leave the laptop on the stoop, for the Porch Pirates. We might do a little bit of a laptop unboxing. We'll see. We'll see when it comes. It might come early. It might come late. I don't have a time span yet. I don't think I'll have a time span until maybe Wednesday morning. It could be Tuesday night. It should be fun though. And then on Thursday, like Wednesday night and Thursday, I will set up the laptop. I'll download OBS and Discord and all of the videos that I need and the editing software and everything. I will load that all up on the new computer, and then we will be ready to go on Friday with the new computer. Exciting! I'm hoping that it gets rid of all of the frame drop issues that we have. And the reason that we get frame drops is because the laptop has been slowing down. Windows keeps having updates that slow down the laptop. It's not compatible with Windows 11, so they kind of want to brick it on me. I don't think it's fair because the laptop is fine. It's got plenty of RAM. It's got really good specs, even in comparison to laptops like now, but it just isn't compatible with Windows 11. The chipsets are not compatible. If it was Sharp and Forge, they invited you. That is Rob. Okay. So yeah, I think that's who it was. But I definitely will stop by. I really want to make another hammer with them and, hang out. Get to know people. It should be fun. All right, we're going to do another heat. Whoops. I totally moved my camera. There we go. By accident. I stepped on the tripod. Not my favorite thing to do, you know? Alright. Here's this. We'll put that there. We'll do this. More progress. Pretty nice, pretty nice. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get a cross-beam hammer out of this. Oh. Get some of the scale off of here if we can manage it. Sometimes we can, sometimes it's a little bit sticky. Yeah. Exciting. Look at that. It's starting to look like a cross piece. It's doing the best. It's a tripod. It is a tripod. It's trying very hard to keep the camera upright and stuff. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's working a lot better than I thought it would. I think I was a little bit afraid that it just wouldn't move the material the way I wanted it because the half of the combo die was a little bit too thin. But it's working, it's working. I don't think that I'm going to be using this press to like manufacture hammers anytime soon, but I'm starting to learn what I need to know in this process. I think though that if I did decide that I want to do manufacturing of hammers and tools in this manner, I think I'll need a power hammer. And that means that I'm going to have to build an outbuilding because the shop just does not have the ability to have a power hammer right now. At least not the size that I want. I love that this group has puns and dad jokes all the time. Yeah, dad jokes and puns are always welcome here. I really love puns and dad jokes. It's one of my favorite kinds of humor. I may not be able to be a dad, but I can still appreciate the humor. Back. Oh, do we have ads? Well, I'm glad that the ads are over with. But yeah, I really appreciate dad jokes. I think they're hilarious, and they're good. They're good, clean fun and humor. And I wanna have fun with the stream. All the fun. She does, or what? When does a joke become a dad joke? When the punchline is apparent. Exactly. Apparent. So, if there are dad jokes, what constitutes a mom joke? Are there mom jokes? My mom likes to joke about things that we used to watch when we were kids. So she'll make jokes about like just the little cartoons that my brother and sister used to watch when we were kids. So like Harry the platypus and all kinds of stuff. When is a car door not a car door? When it is ajar, then it is a jar door. Does that mean that you have to screw it to open it? Like screw open the car door? I don't know. But all right, let's do another heat because I want to get a few more through. I want to get some progress. Lots of progress. Ah! My die has moved. I think I want to flip this over. There we go. Much more better. Alright, so I think we're going to go on the flats again. We're getting a little bit of fish lipping over here, and I just want to flatten it out a little bit. You can kind of see it's widening out at those ends, so I really want to address that before it gets too bad. Moheat, moheat! Welcome in, Ping. Thank you so much for that subscription. Why does the chicken coop have 2 doors? Because if it had 4, it would be a chicken sedan. That's a good one. Lots and lots of car jokes today. Are you guys car people? Progress. Yes, we have lots of progress today. We are currently working on turning our hammer into a cross peen hammer. So we got the plug out of the hole, and now we're kind of tapering it back. We're trying to lengthen it and taper it down so that we get that nice, really skinny face that'll be beautiful for drawing things down. This is about a 2-pound piece of steel, and so I really, I need a 2-pound cross peen hammer that functions. I don't have one that functions. So if I can make this work for me, then it'll probably turn into my main hammer, my main forging hammer. Why is cargo on a boat and shipment on a truck? I don't know why. It sounds like they should be reversed. It definitely sounds like it should be reversed. So my laptop gave me another black screen. I think it's starting to heat up, and it's acting really funny. So I'm very glad that we're getting the new one on Wednesday. So hopefully it, comes faster. Maybe it'll come in the morning, and then I won't have to, maybe I'll have a little bit of time to put together the stream software. It would be really nice. I don't know that that's going to happen. It'll probably happen during stream, and so I don't know. Like, I can't guarantee that it's going to come until like late Wednesday. So I will guarantee you that by Friday we will have the new laptop. Wednesday hype, yes. So Wednesday is the funeral for this laptop. Probably. I don't know. I think that my partner may actually start using it for like word processing and things that don't need speed. Because it's a fine laptop. It still functions beautifully outside of, streaming. And like, it's not going to be capable of gaming. It's not going to be capable of like, anything really heavy usage, but I mean, it might be an adequate word processor. Yay for the new laptop. Yes. I wish a word processor worked the same way as a food processor does. I don't know. I think it depends. Because, I mean, I don't really want to stick my fingers in a food processor, but I use my fingers to type for word processing, right? So, I like to keep my fingers, but unless you're talking about it chops up the words and turns them into food. I mean, I can do that. We could do food. All right. We've got plenty of heat, so I'm going to do another pass on the press, and then we're going to kind of assess where we are time-wise. Because when it gets super late, I start bumping up into things that I actually have to do in the evening. So we'll see what time it is, and we'll see how many heats that I have left in me. All right. Let's do this. If I can get this out of here, it would be beautiful. There we go. Much more better. Ah! Struggle. The struggle is real, guys. The struggle is real. Let's pick this up like so. And then I said that we were going to do it this way because we're starting to fish lip a bit. All right. Pull this up. Ah. All right, here we go. So we're really trying to straighten this out a bit. So that we lengthen it and put all of that steel on the end and not width-wise. See if I can't make this go. There we go, much more better. Alright. Back in the fire. Gotta bring this guy down. Alright, there we go. That'll work. Ugh. Nose is itchy. Ugh. 1 second. Ugh. Sorry about that. Oh, goodness. Alright, so I think I'll probably do 2 more heats, guys. It's starting to get a little bit on the late side, but I think I can manage 2 more heats. We'll wait for this to get, and then they will be on those tops trying to squish down that taper. And then we will finish up for the day, and we will keep on keeping on Wednesday, the last day we're going, or for this laptop. Goodness gracious. Oh, it's over there. Goodness. So, my water is empty again, and I'm out of Gatorade. So I think I'm going to fill it again. You know, you got to do 3 waters, 1 Gatorade, and another water. Starting to run out of water, though. A little bit. I only put 6 cups in here. Alrighty. More water, more water. Gotta keep hydrated. It is a lot cooler behind the camera than it is in front of the camera right now. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? We got about 12 minutes before our next commercial. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do that. And we're going to do 2 more heats. Hopefully we can get them done before the commercial. Whoa! Not cool. Which side of the brick is it? I don't know which side. Okay, it's that side. All right. Let's put this back. There we go. Sorry, guys. Playing things a little bit on the dangerous side right now. I'm not trying to. It's just happening. All right, let's do this. It's working. We're getting a little bit of fish lipping here at this top, and that's gonna happen. So we'll probably have to grind that down at some point. Oh, come on, get out of there. I need to fix my tongs a little bit. They've kind of bent because they've gotten really nice and hot under the steel. So I'll have to fix those before Wednesday. I have to bounce. Time to get on the tractor and get a few hours moving done before it's too hot. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day and a good morning. So we're going to do one more heat and then we're going to rate off. So if there's anybody that you guys would like to see, let me know. Otherwise, I will look to see if there's anybody streaming and maybe we'll meet some new people. New people. Gotta move the steel around a little bit here. Gotta fix this guy a little bit. Starting to bend a little bit weird. These guys are made out of mild steel, so they're a little bit on the soft side. Every once in a while, you kind of have to adjust them a bit. That's better. Open a little bit further so that we can get them in the steel. Right. Awesome. That works beautifully. Like I said, the tongs are getting a little bit on the warm side, so they're starting to bend a little bit. And that's not good because it's going to make it harder to pick the steel up. So I gotta fix them. Starting to get tired. But that's all right. Like I said, one more heat and we'll be good to go. Or I guess not good to go, but we will be rating off. So I can go rest, take a shower, and, do the other stuff I have to do today. Made it through my shift before you got done streaming. Yeah. I was feeling all right today. Normally I get really, really hot or really, really tired before now. So, yeah. We've been kind of chilling today. So, it's been pretty decent. Not too bad. But one more heat and then I will be going in the house. All right. Here we go. You did great. Awesome. I try very hard. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can get this even out of here. Need to open them a little bit further. They're not wanting to open all the way. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm gonna fight this forge. There we go. All right. And there you have it. We've got a good amount of that cross team done. That's really exciting, guys. We are going to keep on keeping on Wednesday. And I will see you guys then. All right. I am going to turn off this forge real fast because I had to move the brick. So, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day. Or your evening. I hope you have a good evening and get some rest. Yeah, thank you. All right, let's see who is available to raid. Who do we got? Who do we got? Ooh, none of my friends are on, so we're gonna make some new friends. New friends, new friends. Ooh, wood. Let's do some wood. Woodworking is great.